So welcome to JG's Fight Talk, sponsored by Rich's Boxing and Limitless Creations. And with me now, all I'll say is wow. That's all I'm going to say. One of the ladies at the forefront of women's boxing, Christy Salters Martin. How you doing, Christy?
I'm well. It's an honor and privilege to be with you today. I'm excited. Anytime we can get on there and talk about domestic violence awareness and bring that to the forefront and people's attention, I'm all about it. So yeah, it's good. God has blessed me.
Oh, 100%. And yeah, all I can say is I just think, it's a privilege to have you on. It really is. Someone that had such an outstanding career, 59 fights, 49 wins, 32 knockouts, 3 draws. We'll get the draws in there. What a career. What a career.
Boxing, oh my goodness, boxing took me on a crazy ride. I'm from such a small town in southern West Virginia, which is all known for really coal mining camps and towns, and I am truly the coal miner's daughter, or a coal miner's daughter. To go on this wild ride and to get to see a lot of the world on somebody else's dime because of boxing was really pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, and the fact that you got to 59 fights. You look at a lot of fighters now, they don't even come close, do they?
Fighters today don't want to fight, in my opinion. I feel like the 90s, maybe a little bit in the 2000s, but we were like the last of the era that fighters wanted to fight. I do promotions now and have to beg fighters to fight. So it's just different. It's a different mentality. It's obviously a different world we're living in, but we see these social media giants and superstars now coming into boxing and making millions of dollars, which is great for them. They figured it out, but it doesn't really help our sport a lot.
No, it definitely takes the shine off it, doesn't it? We don't have to go into names, but we know who they are.
Well, it's hard to convince a kid that's up and coming and a 4 or 6 round fighter to go to the gym and train every day, have a fight and maybe make $2,000 when they can see these guys with no amateur experience, no professional experience, go on and make, hundreds of thousands or maybe millions. So it's a tough sell.
Yeah, definitely. And when you started out, Christy, could you imagine that this was going to be the situation all these years later, that the career you've had, the titles, and now a promoter and matchmaker yourself? What a journey.
Crazy. I mean, never in my wildest, craziest dream could I imagine that boxing would lead me to being promoted by Don King, fighting in Madison Square Garden in New York, fighting in all the major casinos in Las Vegas. Like I said, traveling around the world and being on the cover of Sports Illustrated. People in the 90s, especially, recognizing your name, recognizing you walking down the street. Crazy dream. I mean, you don't even dream that stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you've come to sort of the top of Netflix, should we say, hitting the #1 spot with the Untold series that they're kind of doing at the moment. Deal with the Devil. Huge impact in so many ways. Not just showing off your boxing ability, because as a boxing fan, I thought, wow. Now, you hear the name, but when you see the fights you were in, do you know what I mean? You don't even see that now. It was a brawl, wasn't it? To be perfectly honest, it was incredible.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just the craziest ride, because never did I imagine that boxing would be my career, my job. And then to have some of the fights, the Dearna Gogarty fight on the undercard of Mike Tyson was obviously the fight that not just put my boxing career on the map, but it put women's boxing on the map.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, without that fight, I don't know where women's boxing is today. Would it have just faded away and not continue to get the shot in the arm? Maybe not. Maybe somebody else would have come along, but so far no one's really come along since then to give women's boxing a lot of energy. So hopefully we get that next person that'll be excitement, a little charisma, but can fight as well.
Because did Mike Tyson know you prior to that fight? Obviously had heard of you, but
we were familiar with each other. We had a common friend, and I had fought on an undercard when Tyson fought Buster Mathis Jr. in Philadelphia in I think that was like in December or January, just prior to getting this big fight in March. So yeah, we were familiar with each other. And the good thing was, I mean, Mike Tyson was very supportive. Had he at any point told King, I don't want her on my shows, I mean, he's Mike Tyson. He was running the gravy train. I wouldn't have been on the show. So I owe a lot of gratitude to Tyson, to Don King, to Showtime. A lot of people were behind giving me that push. But I, you know, thank God I was ready to take advantage of the opportunity.
Cool, yeah, and what fight it was, I have to say. I've watched it, and there's not many fights, and I mean this across men's and women's boxing, that were as exciting as you know, the passion in the fight. You know, no one was going to give up, and that was the amazing thing. It was frightening to watch, to be perfectly honest. To watch two women absolutely slog it out. It's drawn me in, you know, to women's boxing even more. And I think if people watch that sort of thing, it just puts you out there. How people, you look at Clarissa Shields now, for example, the big name in America. She doesn't come close, Christy. I'm not going to lie. You know,
Yeah.
You know, her and her team call her the greatest woman of all time. But have they seen Christy Martin at the time? You know what I mean? Because it's
right.
Different levels.
Yeah, right. She, you know what? That fight went across. It was like, I think that obviously the place was jam packed, full. You know, 20,000 people or like 17,000 people, I think, were there. That fight was seen all over the world. I mean, Mike Tyson's getting ready to fight, so every little country, even like the most tiniest little countries, are buying the fight because it's Mike Tyson. So yeah. Everybody all around the world saw that fight, and honestly, I really believe that by the final bell, people weren't looking at it like it was a woman's fight anymore. They were just looking at it like, this is a hell of a fight. You know, yeah. It didn't matter who was in there. And I think with that, you know, having that feeling, that's all I wanted to do in my career. I just wanted to fit into boxing. I just wanted to be a fighter. It wasn't all about being a woman fighter. I wanted to be a good fighter. So, you know, hopefully we did that on that night. And then for the next too many years, I stayed around and hopefully had some other good fights as well. Yeah. The fans appreciated.
I like how you said, oh, I just wanted to fit in. I think you did more than that, to be fair.
Yeah, it was just that. And I had good support, mostly really from the male fighters. The fighters themselves gave me good support. Their teams sometimes weren't happy because King was putting me on TV and maybe not, they weren't getting on TV, or maybe they thought I was getting paid too much, you know, but the fighters themselves are always supportive.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, Christy, if people haven't watched Deal with the Devil on Netflix, sell it to them in a short summary. As difficult as it is, I know, because there's so much in there. There's so many different topics. You know, the stories are kind of running in different ways, aren't they? You know, your boxing career as well as your relationship with your husband and you know, just so many different things. But how can you sum it up to someone who hasn't seen it?
I think, you know, if anybody has the time, and you haven't seen the Netflix Untold story, Deal with the Devil, take a look at it, because it touches a lot of different groups. I mean, it's definitely not a boxing story, but it talks about boxing. It's not it talks about sexuality. It talks about domestic violence, but it's also, to me, it's the ultimate underdog story. It's the person that there's no way this little girl from Southern West Virginia, coal miner's daughter, from a town of like 500 people, and she's going to get all this notoriety and really make it to the top of the world in boxing. But while making it, she's living in hell. And then we have the cocaine in there. I mean, it touches on so many different levels that it's going to touch about everybody. Everybody that watches it, some way it's going to touch you. And hopefully you can look at it and say, wow, there's nothing special about Christy. So if she can do it and get back on her feet, I can do it and get back on my feet. And that's what people many times ask me, why did you open up like this? And why would you want to talk? Well, because I think God left me here for a reason. And that reason is to help other people. And if I help, one person, if I help one person the rest of my life, I think I've done my job. But my real goal is to try to help one person every day. And that's what, Netflix has given me the opportunity to do, is to really reach out and help more other people.
Yeah. I just think you're such an inspiring individual and such a humble person.
Thank you.
There's not a lot of people that would put their life under the microscope almost, and to the world. And you've done it in such a way that, people can relate to it in so many different aspects. And I think you've probably changed more than one life already. And that's incredible. So, you've definitely inspired, my wife's crying already,
Oh my.
she's thinks the world of you and what you've been through and how you've risen up and used it to a positive effect. And that speaks volumes to you as a human. So that's, yeah.
What was that?
She said, I love her.
Thank you. I have much love back. And you know what? God is good. And so I just have to keep on keeping on and trust and believe. There are many days that are real tough, but I try to keep the positive out there to at least everybody else and deal with my own issues internally. But I'm going to keep on keeping on and really try to make a difference.
Quickly before we move on, how did it come about with the Netflix series? How did it crop up?
You know what? I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. I pick up the phone one day and it's McLean Wayans from Netflix. That they were actually the producers, and he's like, we'd like to do this Netflix documentary. And look, I've been a fighter. I was a fighter for 20 plus years. So you get so many calls, you get so many offers, you get so much BS. And I was just kind of like, sure. I told him, yeah, sure, I'm interested. But at the same time, I was thinking, sure, you're from Netflix. Sure, we want to do a documentary. Like I was kind of blowing him off almost. And then then they called back and then they sent the contract. And I was like, wow, this might really be serious. And so
Netflix.
That's how it happened. I mean, it was just there you go. It was just really out of the blue. It was, I don't even remember now how he said he got my contact information, or it just, it was really out of the blue.
Wow. Well, if that's not sent by God, I don't know what is, because
right.
Your story was there to be told, and they've given you the platform to do that. And I'm just so grateful you have done it, because I just think, going back to what you were saying, I think that is what you're here to do, is to help others and be there for people. And I think you will do that.
I certainly hope so. And that's what I say. There's so many different aspects of my every person out there that can be touched in some way. And hopefully, like I said, they'll get some like fight, get some, if she can do it, I can do it. And get some positive energy and move on. That's all we can do. I mean, It's easy to give up. There's days that I would like to just throw my hands up and give up and get under the covers. Today might actually even be one of those days, but I know that I can't. And just G and in this world, and instead of telling somebody, one sentence that's positive that might resonate with them all day long or all week long, everybody's really fast to criticize. People have no idea. Like in the morning, I just walk fast. I try to say good morning to them, and like when they give me no response back, it makes me angry, because I'm thinking, how can people not say, just good morning, or just something, smile at somebody. Now with the mask, we can't smile at people, but just good morning. I mean, it goes a long way. Just
yeah. Just it starts someone's day, gives that positivity to someone. To me, that's how I've been brought up, is to greet everyone, be nice to everyone, because you don't know what sort of day that person's having and the effect that could have to change their day. So yeah, I think it's important to remember those values, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I think being from such a small town, like, that's the way I was raised. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Those kind of things are all like a thing of the past, but at least, hold a door open for somebody. Do some, try to do one act of kindness every day. And that act can be just telling somebody, good morning, good afternoon, have a good day. It takes zero energy to, and you're right. You have no idea what's really going on with that person. So just one sentence of positive can change their whole thought process.
No, definitely. Well, jumping ahead, we're obviously talking one day at a time there. Jumping ahead, big times ahead for Christy. Massive things ahead. So let the people know what's ahead for you.
Yeah, well, we're doing boxing promotions, so I have November 20th. I'll be promoting my next show in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but you guys can see it. It's on the BPE app. So if you have an iPhone or Android or whatever phone you have, you can get that app, BPE, and watch the fights. Just a lot of up and coming 4 and 6 round guys that are trying to make it to that next level. Yeah. And then, so we have that in November. And we have a couple of domestic violence events that we're going to be doing before the end of the year. And then hopefully everything comes out okay. June 2022, my class of 2020 will actually get to do the induction into the International Boxing Hall of Fame 2 years later. And we'll actually go through the ceremony and everything of being inducted as the first woman's class into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So very excited about that. But at that same weekend, we will do the release of the book written by Ron Borges, who, if you guys are big boxing fans, you might remember Ron writing a lot of good and controversial stories in the 90s and 80s in the Boston Globe.
Wow. What a roller coaster you're going to be on for the next, from here on out, really, isn't it? So yeah, Christy, I'm so excited for you. I generally am, and there's no one that deserves it more than you. As I say, the career you've had, the life you've had, but the positivity and the drive to turn things around and to give back to so many people. Yeah, I just think incredible is the only word to describe you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And with my nonprofit, Christy's Champs, we're buying computers and putting computers in like local boxing gyms and really trying to break the cycle, make a difference. We're bringing tutors in, mentors, and not just they will have the opportunity to have a boxing class, but computers will be available to the guys and girls in the boxing gym. So, it was recently one of the gyms that we put computers in. A kid actually didn't have internet at home, so he filled out his college application. And when the coach told me about it, I was so proud. Like, wow, we helped make that happen. That he had a place to do his college application because of what we had done with the boxing gym through Christy's Champs. So I'm sure we're doing positive. We're doing good stuff. We're doing good stuff.
No, definitely. Well, Christy, all I will say is thank you so much for coming on. Yeah, you like I said to you before, you really inspired me during that. And I know it's going to be such a big effect to so many other people on all different levels, you know, in regards to domestic violence, the career that women can go on in boxing, but, you know, just boxers in general. You know, I think you're a real inspiration. And yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed to have you on. I think
Thank you.
it's been a real privilege. So stay in touch, and love to your mum as well.
Thank you so much. Take care of your wife.
Yeah, I will.
I need to keep those fans.
Oh, you'll keep them. Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it.
Thank you.
She's grinning in here. And
Cool.
I'll speak to you soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, Christy Salters Martin, what an absolute star she is. 59 fights, 49 wins, 32 knockouts, 3 draws. What a career. She is the greatest woman of all time, in my opinion. You know, 2009, she beat Dakota Stone for the WBC World Super Welterweight title. She's now a promoter and a matchmaker. That's on top of everything else that went on in her life. Such an incredible individual. She's got the Netflix show. Give it a watch. It's called Untold, Deal with the Devil. She gets inducted into the Hall of Fame next year, and she's got a book coming out in June 2022. So look her up, follow her on her socials, follow her journey. Yeah, absolutely privileged to have her on. So if you've enjoyed this one as much as I have, hit the subscribe button at JG's Fight Talk on YouTube, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much.
Are you ready?